There was a sense of urgency that he brought with him from day one. He was like some sort of a drill sergeant.
Kevin had arrived. He was a football coach. He knew how to make things happen.
We all had a football each to take home, like a baby almost. You take this home and you've got to keep it, you've got to practice with it and bounce it and handball, and you sort of going overboard a bit.
Every player had a football with his name on it, had to take it home, and he was going to get fined if he lost it.
He was like a whirlwind, like the moment he came through that door, it was changing, the whole thing was changing, and for me it was exciting.
Well, it's probably one of the exciting times of my life. It's something that not many people do achieve, to get a chance to coach. Looking at Essendon, I used to be a supporter of the Essendon Football Club, so probably from my infancy, Essendon were close for many years as a part of my life.
My first night back on the committee, the president announced that Kevin Sheedy was our new coach. And I don't know whether I literally dropped my head, but I thought, oh no, because I can remember Sheeds has a tough ankle tapping, negative half-back flanker for Richmond. I thought, oh no. But to his great credit, Sheedy, I've got enormous respect for Sheedy.
I would just like to hope that the Essendon supporters really get behind the club, because I feel that there is a challenge there for everybody, and that means that it is there for the supporters to be tough, to be loyal to all the players, to the committee, and to myself also. And well, with the effort that I have in mind, I'm quite sure that we won't be far away from success.
We had a lot of teachers here at the time, so I let a few of those go, and the rest is history.
The big fella, Madden, he taps it down beautifully from Fowler. Fowler sets up the handball. Another one, they go in towards the open goal, which is useless.
I haven't been a teacher for years, but I was a teacher back then, and I think he thought we were soft. He liked his plumbers. He liked his tradesmen.
Madden, the handball to Reed. Reed steadies onto the left boot. He goes straight through the middle, and another one to Essendon.
As he said, well, we're not going to win a grand final with a team full of Christians anyhow.
The punt is well on its way. It's into the goal square.
There's a couple of times that, a lot of people don't know that, but we've actually had face-to-face stand-up arguments, shouting at each other. You're ruining my, effing career, da-da-da-da.
Sheedy was such an imposing sort of figure when you first meet him, and for the first, I reckon, 10 years of my involvement with Sheeds, I was actually scared of him, terrified of him.
We wanted strong people. That's what we really wanted. Sometimes skill wasn't that important.
Long kick from Folds. Hawker on the run. Over towards Danaher. He can go from there. And
They were a wild bunch of blokes. We were a blue-collar team, though, and a blue-collar group of blokes.
Snapshot for goal. Watch it. Goal.
I want to be part of a premiership side, and that's I reckon that's about the biggest thing every footballer aims to be, is part of a premiership side.
See, Merv Neal arrived just before I did, and Merv and I used to share a paper round in Dimboola. So I'd known Merv all my life, and we played together in Dimboola too, and he was to go in and be part of the 1984 Premiership team.
Long and high to the goal square, and look at that.
I was captain at the time. I remember being on the selection committee. We'd lost 5 out of the first 6 games. He used to coach back then in footy boots and a black tracksuit. He was on the ground. I remember about round 70, selection committee had actually picked himself in the back pocket. Now, he's the bloke who picks the team, and I'm the captain, and I'm the one who play, and I'm the one who's got to tell him no. We're all saying no.
Sometimes he really did what he wanted to do himself. You wouldn't know where he was during the day. Like he was domiciled here, but the desk never had anything on it because he'd be everywhere else. He was a good coach. But he did give us some headaches because you wouldn't know what he was up to.
He would always be up and running in his car at 5 in the morning as a coach, and he wouldn't get home till 10 or 11 at night.
We'd say, we want you at a meeting on Tuesday morning. And he didn't turn up.
Well, I don't suffer fools. I go and hide, sit down in the park, Botanic Gardens, Hilton Hotel.
Can't beat this place. Can't beat it.
He was coaching the club, he was coaching the team, he's coaching individuals, and probably even coaching supporters to a certain way. You know, how do you follow the club? How do you come along and connect?
He's not just a coach. He becomes your mentor. He becomes a guy that gives you direction, not only as a football, but in life.
Sheedy was outstanding at it. A door was never, ever closed at the Essendon Football Club while Kevin Sheedy was coach.
Well, he's a great motivator. Players believed everything he did. I'll tell you a story. There was one, he said that you've got to grab hold of the football when the whistle blows, because then you've got control of the game. So the players will go and pick up the ball and they give it to the boundary umpire, they give it to the field umpire. Very nice, you know, but it was having control of the game. Well, that was going on for a while, and then a few games later and probably halfway through the season, we were actually taking the ball off the opposition player, which was causing a big problem. They didn't like that. So that's where the 50-metre rule came in. That was Sheedy's idea of everybody just had to control football.
Back there over the half-forward line.
I'm an unashamed fan of Kevin Sheedy. He's a great football person. He's a mixture of personality. He's a great innovator. He's a hard man, born in Richmond, but he's got a soft, cuddly side. You don't see it often. I like Kevin. Kevin like me. We get on fine.
His meetings went forever. He'd have pages and pages of detail that he put together, you know, before a game and all that sort of stuff.
It was getting a bit monotonous at the long run, repeating stories and so forth, but he understood what guys were like.
Adventure, let's have a look at some adventure.
We could go for maybe an hour and 20 minutes, and we'd be locked in a small room together. And one day I was sitting next to Terry, it was a pre-game one, and Kevin had a million things up on the board, right? Like a million things, and he'd go with them, and some of them were related, some were unrelated, that type of thing. But it was almost like a conscious stream of thought that he just put up on the board, and he was going through it, and I was sitting next to Terry, and I could tell that he was just at about a gutful. And he just got up, right? He's our captain. He just stood up at one stage. He just had enough. He said, "Come on, Kev, that's enough." He said, "Why don't you just send us out there to play?"
But I appreciate Terry's comments because he just loved to play. And so a few other boys too.
That's Terry Danaher spinning out the pack, a snap for goal, and looks good. It's a beautiful goal. And Glenn overruns. There's a go now for Terry Danaher to snap at the goals. Not a bad sort of a kick. It's through for a goal.
I've had a pretty good time, you know, and I like a laugh and like to enjoy myself, but I like to work as well.
Thursday nights are always very long. We train till 8:30. We'd have dinner till 9:30, into the meeting room, announce the team, quick video, which normally should go for 15 minutes, but Sheeds would get carried away, and they go for 30, 35, 40. So Kevin Walsh said, I'm going to do something about this. Checked out what remote was being used for the VCR, and brought in his own. Checked it, yep, it worked, put it in his pocket, and so when we went at 9:30 for the team meeting, she starts the short video, but Kenny Betts was our property steward, and Kenny would always load the video up, put it in, ready Sheeds, here we go. And Kenny wasn't the smartest man in the world, he certainly wasn't an IT guru. So Sheeds got about 5 minutes in, fast forward, replay, fast forward, replay, fast forward, replay, and then Spitter just went fast forward. Just left on fast forward and then stopped. And the Sheed's gone, what? And he looked at Kenny. Kenny, what's wrong with this machine? And Kenny's gone, tat, 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 bang, bang, bang. It's all good, Sheeds, it's all good. So Spitter let him, give him another 2 minutes and then bang, fast forward. Off she go again. And, Kenny, what the? And Kenny by then left the room. He could, there's too much stress. But Sheeds is not an idiot. He did it one more time, fast forward, and he just went, which one of you bastards has got a remote? And the Spitter went.
We had a few wild boys there. It was funny one night, Ronnie Andrews came to training. He'd been pig shooting somewhere and he kept dropping marks, you know. I think he was still a little bit hungover, you know, and Sheedy's screaming at him.
Kevin, he must have had some sleepless nights sort of wandering and trying to work out how to handle some of those players. Like Merv, you know, people will tell the story about Merv when he made Merv do some extra, you know, laps one night, and Merv said, you know, you, I'm going inside, and ran inside, ran off the track, and Kevin just sort of looked over him. And then Merv went into the change rooms and smashed Sheeds' locker up. He came in after training his locker. I think he took some of the clothes out of Kevin's locker. He threw them on the floor, and his locker was buckled in, just bent in the middle. But you know, like the thing is with Kevin is like, you know, he thought about it. He knew that he had to have a, you know, like a relationship with Merv, and you know, they were great mates.
Oh, Van der Haar is clear. Hand pass, now he's got a shot for the goal. What's the result? A goal. It's a long kick up there towards Van der Haar. Flying, he's got it.
Towards centre wing. Van der Haar in the front position. A beautiful mark. Towards half forward. Out comes Fly. Beautiful mark.
Fairly early in the piece that Kevin Sheedy invited Van der Haar around for dinner on a Friday night for some fish and chips, and Vander came, knocked at the door, and Sheeds opened the door, and Vander's got the half a dozen cans under his arm, and said to her, "What on earth are you doing with those?" And he said, "I knew yours wouldn't be cold."
So I thought, well, he's not going to have any beers in the fridge, so I thought that'll be a good introduction if I walk in with half a dozen to start with.
Underground pass to Van der Haar on his own. Van der Haar on the goal square. Danaher's first goal.
He just loved life, and you know, he and Terry would have beers on Friday night before a game, you know, just a couple of beers with the fish and chips or whatever it was. And Sheeds could never get close to Vander.
I found the more I trained, the worse I was. I think Sheedy became more understanding in the long run that, yes, not everybody can physically do the same things as everybody else. But I'd be working all day and then digging holes and then turn up for training. Well, I'd done a full day's training already before I even got to training.
Taps it on, he's got it. And the Bombers back into attack again. Up she goes to Benedict.
Round 21 at Princess Park, Essendon's playing Carlton, and the Blues are up by 28 points entering time on of the last quarter. And yet, it would go down as one of the greatest comebacks of all time. It would forever be known as the Neil Danaher match.
Could be the dress rehearsal for the grand final of 1981 as Neil Danaher comes in for the kick that could possibly win the game. And he's put it through.
Ever since I've retired from basketball, I've never been busier. You said that?
All new. There it is. Rivalry, and do it like no one before them. This is how it came to be.
Excuse me, sir. I'm here for the job.
Take 700 wickets, and the job's yours, Warnie. Change the game, Gilly. Yes, Kerry? Perfect.
There it is. The story of the legendary team brought together for the love of cricket.
Could be the dress rehearsal for the grand final of 1981 as Neil Danaher comes in for the kick that could possibly win the game. And he's put it through, and the Bombers have hit the front.
It's ironic. That was the last game I really played.
The following Saturday, Neil suffered a serious knee injury.
At 21, I probably learnt life doesn't promise to be fair. But you gotta don't play the victim, dust yourself off and get on with it.
They're all having a dip as a hand pass comes out now, cleared away by Danaher.
That's Barry Rawlings, as I said before, a very quiet player. There's a good mark from Danaher. Nagel threads his way through the pack. Beautiful hand pass.
Neil Danaher had won the club's best and fairest in 1981, and Sheedy appointed him captain for 1982.
He really didn't even tell me. He announced it. I go, what? Me? But that's how it's done. I said, Kev, what do I do? He said, you work it out.
The straight on this half-back flank up as he fires. The kick is a good one. Is it coming around enough? It might be a goal.
I think it was sticking up the older blokes on the list. He said, "Bugger you guys, I'll give it to this guy."
Trying to play the ball in front, gets it cleverly to Hurd.
After finishing 5th in both 81 and 82, the Bombers were on the rise in 1983, and the rivalry with Hawthorn was becoming fierce.
Van der Haaf. Oh, I couldn't hold that mark. It's tapped on now. Van der Haaf goes after the shot at goal. Not a bad sort of a kick. It's a goal. What a ripper. Oh, that's a great mark to Brereton. Oh, Brereton, what a mark.
Magnificent mark.
And in that era, the dirtiest team by far we played, we weren't exactly clean either. The dirtiest team we played was Essendon.
Hawks legend Don Scott claimed in a newspaper article that a hitman was operating in the league.
We come to Don Scott. He got into the Herald Sun one day. Roger Merida's a thug.
Oh, it's a chance now for little Ezra.
So the rivalry was born through that, and it was through respect.
Dunstall at the back. Oh, great mark, Thompson.
It was very respectful for each other's capabilities, but there was genuine fear.
Good position, the back fly. Matthews steps the ball out of duck.
We met a pretty professional unit in Hawthorn, and they taught us a good footy lesson on the day, but I don't think we quite had the petrol in the tank, to get the job done.
Matthews, a shot at goal.
Extremely disappointing, really. Extremely disappointing, we just got to learn from that game. We just never got anywhere near any sort of goal power on the forward line, and our performance around the ground was down too, Madden and Bahajar were terrific, really. I thought a couple of our link players didn't play well, and our forward line was really down on the day, and very poor effort, really. And I know we're a better side than that, and I just believe that I hope the players really do get hurt, because I know I'm hurt, and I know our supporters would be really down in the dumps about it,
At the grand final night dinner, Sheedy dropped a bombshell.
It was time for Kevin to say something. Well, you could have heard a pin drop after about 5 or 6 words, because he said, if I see anybody in this room with a smile on their face, I'll throw you out. There was silence. And he just went on. You don't smile, you were beaten, and you've got to do something about it.
Sheeds got up there and said that you shouldn't be smiling, you shouldn't be enjoying yourselves. If you don't learn from this, you'll never learn. And people have paid good money to be at the function.
He gave us, all of us, the biggest serve ever about how we've let ourselves down.
Well, it burnt a hole in their hearts and their minds. But look, I don't hold back on that. I mean, I got an absolute baking from my wife, because it probably hurt the players a little bit, but I think it hurt the girlfriends and the wives more and the supporters. But, why would you want to go and celebrate the worst loss in AFL history in a grand final? You're kidding yourself.
The next step is to leave it linger in their minds for a while and let it just really hurt, because, I will, feel about that game from, a long, long time.
We had the post-mortem here on the Monday. He made us watch the whole grand final again, and he would pause, and then he'd rewind, and then he'd fast forward, and it went for a long, long time.
Copping will get a mark or free kick. No. Play on. Salmon again. You put them in front if he can score here. It's a goal. They're in front by a goal.
Up towards the square. Salmon again. One hit by Salmon.
In 1984, a new star was born. 19-year-old Paul Salmon, in just his second season, was hailed as another Coleman, and Sheedy was his messiah.
Jostling for front spot. Beautifully marked by Salmon.
Kevin became this hot gospeler, this sort of, not just a father figure, but someone that anything he said, I became a disciple, I suppose you could say. Just someone who, if he said, Paul, it's time to jump off the roof, I probably would have done it.
Again, shoots, goals!
The Fish kicked 63 goals in the first 13 games of '84, until a knee injury put an end to his season. After a freakish collision with Jeff Rains, the rising star was carried from the ground, destined for the operating theatre, and 12 months on the sidelines.
Salmon Downey hasn't moved from him for a while. Pete, he's really stunned down there.
That is, well, very bad luck for Essendon.
I don't think it's really hit me too hard yet. I mean, it sort of has since I've got here, since I've jumped in the bed. But I've just got to treat it as if it's just it's another football injury, and that's why you play football. You can't play football without expecting to receive an injury during your career.
Meanwhile, the rivalry between Essendon and Hawthorn had gotten personal.
Apparently they were smelling salts, and one of the trainers had smelling salts. And she's the audacity to say, what are they taking? And of course, Alan Jeans was a copper and was the head of the club, so he didn't take it nicely. Put it across the Herald, the front of the paper, I think, and I thought, that's just going to add to the ammunition, isn't it? They're going to use that against us.
Kevin, he could do it, and whether there's a little bit of feeling, a little bit of menace in it, a little bit of skullduggery, duplicity, that's Kevin. And he could smile about it later on. Jeans would never let anything go.
Dermot was good like that. He, probably in many ways that's why I liked him. And wasn't sure about kissing Billy Duckworth, but that's another point.
How do you do from...
There were few characters to rival Duckworth and Brereton, and in round 18, they decided to get to know each other more intimately.
It was '84, out here at Windy Hill. And I put my hand on the ground, and Bill thought, here's a 19-year-old kid, I'll rough him up. And he jumped on my hand and swiveled.
You wouldn't like to meet either of them in a dark night and be unfriendly?
I did kiss Bill, yeah. I got close to Bill and he grabbed me, I grabbed him, we got close and he got his head right about there. And so I let the jumper go, grabbed him like that and thought, I'm in danger here because he might give me the old Liverpool kiss.
Oh, there's a bit of humour in football.
They look like they're enjoying themselves.
And from the Melbourne Cricket Ground, we begin the 1984 VFL Grand Final between Hawthorn and Essendon.
Essendon haven't won a grand final since 1965, and they're playing the old team of Hawthorn that had wiped us off the park the year before, so there's a lot at stake. And it was starting to get really nasty. There was a lot of rivalry in that, and Kevin used to wind us right up when we played Hawthorn.
Swab decides to have a shot at goal. There's a chance for another one. Duckworth and Matthews both fighting it. Matthews goes down. He was nearly grabbed by the leg. And Loveridge puts it through for another one. Oh, they're looking good, Hawthorn. 4 goals on the board, 24 points to Essendon, 1 point only. The half-back line for Hawthorn. Knocked out by, well, actually missed that. Finally, it comes back to Madden. He's upended. Wallace gets one a bit high. The umpire says play on. But he's found a free kick. It'll go to Timmy Watson, no doubt Essendon's best player so far.
There's a fight.
There's a box on. We tipped that out there on the wing position. We'll go back with the play. Burn. Oh, a great big punch. That was Mew, I should say. Finally, it comes out there to Hurd, a hand pass.
Oh, the fight's more interesting than the play.
The fight's still going on. Players are going over left and right out there as the players out there now on that.
Well, Madden's reported. You can.
5 minutes into the game, decided to have a fight. We were a couple of goals down, so we sent Madden to start a fight, and Simon was like I don't know whether he hit anyone, but anyway, he made a lot of air flow around.
Duckworth comes in, got a touch of the fumbles, but he gets it on the second go. Finally drives it up there towards the full forward position, and Baker's got it. Baker's got it dead in front. So there's the big chance to kick their 4th goal. Curran on the ground and Brereton up.
And the 15th. Baker's second goal for Essendon. He got their first of the game. And the scoreboard now, Essendon 4-14-38, Hawthorn 9-7-61.
Hawthorn did get the jump on them, and a great burst of football in that first turn. But from that moment, not one Essendon player has dropped his head. They've kept at it.
Kevin comes running out, and he's pointing at Hawthorn, and he said, "Look, they're absolutely stuffed. They've given it their all. They're all getting massages. They all look shot, spent." I think Dipper had been hurt throughout the course of the game, and perhaps even Dermot, and he was making us subconsciously believe that they'd played the game, and there was still a quarter to go.
The final quarter of the 1984 VFL Grand Final.
Next on the Bombers, the storied rivalry between Essendon and Hawthorn plays out in a famous final quarter.
This has been a Fox Sports presentation.